Hi, and welcome to Female Entrepreneurs Magazine, your go-to platform for ambitious women who are ready to take the business world by storm. I'm your host, Angel France, and each week we'll dive into the latest strategies, stories, and success secrets from the most inspiring female entrepreneurs around the world. Today on The Real Female Entrepreneurs, we're diving into healing, hope, and some serious breakthrough energy. Our guest is a powerhouse, featured on Fox, CBS, The Dr. Oz Show, TEDx speaker, not once, but twice, award-winning author, and founder of the Post-Betrayal Transformation Institute. She's not changing lives, she's literally changing science with her PhD study on betrayal. With a top-ranked podcast and her creation of National Forgiveness Day, which we all need, she's helping the world turn pain into purpose. If you've ever been hurt and are ready to heal, for real this time, she's your woman, she's your guide. Help me give a warm welcome to the phenomenal Dr. Debi Silber. Welcome, Debi.
Thank you. Looking forward to our conversation.
It's going to be fun. Something had to happen, though, to have you become the female entrepreneur you are and known as the woman who helps you forgive people because of betrayal. Do you mind sharing what happened?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you don't study something like betrayal unless you have to. This isn't the kind of topic where you're like, oh, I think I want to study betrayal. No, it was two painful betrayals for me from my family. At first thought I did everything I needed to do to heal from that. And then it happened again. This time it was my husband. That was the deal breaker. Got him out of the house. Here I was, 4 kids, 6 dogs, a thriving business. But I needed to sort of learn my way through this. There wasn't a book, there wasn't a program, there wasn't anything I could find. So I decided to study it at the PhD level. I enrolled in a PhD program, did this study, and it truly was to help me heal, help my clients, and just get myself out of this mess. And that study, I did a study. It led to 3 groundbreaking discoveries, which changed my health, my family, my work, my life.
And you said health first. So I believe that forgiveness, unforgiveness specifically, is the cause of a lot of sickness.
Oh, it absolutely is. But when you address forgiveness too early in the betrayal healing, it backfires every time. And this is something that I've seen continuously. So we have it very strategically placed where you're ready for it. So you're willing to take it on. Early on, it's not a fit. It's nothing to talk about, nothing to discuss. But later on it is, because that's when you can see you can see that it really has nothing to do with the other person. It has everything to do with you and releasing the power that all that pain has over you. But there's too much to clean up first before we get to that.
So you have 3 discoveries you did, correct? Do you mind telling us a little bit about each one?
Yeah,
it's so
sure.
Intriguing. Oh my word.
So the first discovery was I had a feeling betrayal was a different type of trauma. I've been through death of a loved one. I've been through disease, but I was like, betrayal feels different. I didn't want to assume that was the same thing for everyone in my study. So I asked him, if you've been through other traumas, does betrayal feel different for you? Unanimously, they said it's so different. And here's why. Because it feels so intentional, we take it so personally. So the entire self get shattered. Think about it. Rejection, abandonment, belonging, confidence, worthiness, trust. They're shattered. Like when we lose someone we love, we grieve, we're sad, we mourn the loss, life will never be the same. We don't question the relationship. We don't question our ability to trust. We don't question ourselves, right? With betrayal, we do. So that betrayal is a different type of trauma. That was the first discovery.
Wow. So realizing that the discovery is that you are betrayed because it's different. It's different.
Very different. And the problem is when we treat it just like another trauma, we wonder why we don't heal because we need to treat it differently. And that led to the second discovery. Want me to get into that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that would have been a really
Definitely.
awkward moment if you said no. Okay.
I would
So
never say no.
the second discovery was there's actually a collection of symptoms, physical, mental, and emotional, so common to betrayal. It's now known as post-betrayal syndrome. And we've had easily over 100,000 people take our post-betrayal syndrome quiz on our site to see to what extent they're struggling. A few things about that. The first thing is we've all been taught time heals all wounds, right? I have the proof that when it comes to betrayal, that's not true. There's a question on the quiz that says, is there anything else you'd like to share? And people write things like, my betrayal happened 35 years ago. I'm unwilling to trust. My betrayal happened 10 years ago. It feels like it happened yesterday. So we know you can't count on time. You can't even count on a new relationship to heal it. Until and unless you intentionally and deliberately heal it, it will follow you around in your work, in your health, in your relationships. And I'm happy to share some of the stats from the quiz to see. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
especially since the healing process is so different, you have to take a whole nother little road to it. So I would really love to hear the stats on.
absolutely. Yeah. So now, as much as you're going to hear the symptoms, listen for these numbers. Okay. Now, this is out of over 100,000 people. 78% of them constantly revisit their experience. 81% feel a loss of personal power. 94% deal with painful triggers. And if you've ever had a trigger, they're so painful.
Yeah.
The most common physical symptoms, 71% have low energy, 68% have sleep issues, 63% have extreme fatigue. So you sleep all night, you wake up, you're exhausted, your adrenals have tanked. 47% have weight changes. So in the beginning, maybe they can't hold food down. Later on, they're emotionally eating, using food for comfort. 45% have a digestive issue, and that could be anything: Crohn's, IBS, diverticulitis, constipation, diarrhea, you name it. The most common mental symptoms, 78% are overwhelmed. 68% can't focus. 64% are in shock. 62% can't concentrate. So imagine this. You can't concentrate. Let's just stop there. You're exhausted. You have a gut issue. You have to go to work.
You're
You have to raise your
miserable.
kids.
You're miserable.
Miserable. That's not even the emotional ones. Emotionally, 88% experience extreme sadness. 83% are very angry. And you're going back between those two all day long. 80% have anxiety, just a few more. This is why I wrote my book, Trust Again. 84% have an inability to trust. Think about what an inability to trust will do to your work, your health, your relationships. 67% prevent themselves from forming deep relationships because they're afraid of being hurt again. 82% find it hard to move forward. 90% want to move forward, but they don't know how.
Okay, I'm blown away. Those numbers are just staggering.
Yeah. Okay.
Those numbers are not the same as losing a loved one. They're not the same as being sick. This is like takes it to a whole new level.
Here's what's even crazier about it. You didn't hear me say 20%, 30%, right? The numbers are super high. This is what's mind-blowing. They're not even necessarily from a recent betrayal. So this could be from your parent who did something awful when you were a kid. This could be from your partner who broke your heart in high school. So think about this. That person may not know, care, remember, they may not even be alive. And here we are with these symptoms decades later because it was left unhealed. The good news is you could heal from all of it, which was the third discovery.
Okay. And so you can heal from it. Is there any tips to heal, how to heal? But you have to go through the steps.
Yeah, that's the third discovery. And just to wrap up the second discovery, we had a woman in our community. She was in her mid-80s. This is just giving you an example. And for over 70 years, over 70 years, she had a digestive issue from a family betrayal. She was adopted. They didn't tell her, like that kind of thing. Over 70 years, she had a gut issue. 2 weeks in our program, she healed from a 70-year digestive issue. That's because she dealt with the actual root cause and not just the symptoms.
It's just amazing. It's just amazing. And I mean, just like we started out, sickness, because it's from that unforgiveness. You can't forgive something you're like can't get to the root of, and that's where you come in.
Absolutely. So you want to hear the third discovery?
I always
Okay.
want to hear the third.
All right. This for me was the most exciting. And what we learned was, while we can stay stuck for years, decades, a lifetime, and most people do, if we're going to fully heal, and by fully heal, I mean those symptoms of post-betrayal syndrome that I just shared, to that completely rebuilt place called post-betrayal transformation, where you rebuild your life and yourself, we're going to move through 5 proven, predictable stages. And what's even more exciting about that is we even know what happens physically, mentally, and emotionally at every stage. And we know what we need to do in order to move from one stage to the next. Healing's entirely predictable.
Okay, so you have the 5 steps. Do you want to
You
tell
want to
them?
hear it?
Oh, I want to hear them.
All right. So, and everybody knows when I share these, you will know exactly where you are. This is what I certify all of our coaches in. This is, you'll know where you are. Okay. So the first stage, this is actually before it happens. And if you can imagine 4 legs of a table, the 4 legs being physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. What I saw with everybody, me too, was a heavy lean on the physical and the mental thinking and doing, and kind of neglecting or ignoring the emotional and the spiritual feeling and being. Well, if a table only has 2 legs, it's going to be easy for that table to topple over. That's us. Stage 2, shock, trauma, D-Day, discovery day. This is, everybody remembers their D-Day. And this is the scariest of all of the stages. It's the breakdown of the body, the mind, and the worldview. So right here, you've ignited the stress response. You are now headed for every single stress-related symptom, illness, condition, disease. Your mind is completely in this state of chaos. You cannot wrap your mind around what you just learned. This makes no sense. And your whole worldview is shattered. Your worldview are the rules you follow. Trust this person. This is how life works. And in one earth-shattering moment, every rule you've been following is no longer true. The bottom has bottomed out, and a new bottom hasn't been formed yet. This is terrifying, right? But think about it. If the bottom were to bottom out on you, what would you do? You grab hold of anything or anyone in order to stay safe and stay alive, right? That's stage 3. Survival instincts emerge. This is the most practical out of all of the stages. If you can't help me, get out of my way. How do I survive this experience? Where do I go? Who can I trust? Here's the trap though. Stage 3, by far, hands down, is the most common place we get stuck. Here's why.
I can see that.
Once and you know so many people in this stage, once we've figured out how to survive our experience, because it feels so much better than the shock and trauma that we just came from, we think it's good. And because we don't, yes, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And because we don't know there's anywhere else to go, we don't know there's a stage 4 or a stage 5. Transformation doesn't even begin until stage 4. But because we don't know there's anywhere else to go, we make a life here. We plant roots here. We're not supposed to, but we don't know that. And 4 things start to happen. The first one is we start getting all those small self secondary gain benefits. We get our story. We love our story. We get to be right. We get a sympathy from everyone we share our story with. And we're not getting much else. So this feels good. So we plant deeper roots. And now because we're here longer than we should be, now the mind starts doing things like, maybe you're not that great. Maybe you deserved it. Maybe this, maybe that. So we plant deeper roots. Mm-hmm. And now because these are the thoughts we're thinking, this is the energy we start putting out. Like energy attracts like energy. So now we start attracting circumstances and people and relationships to confirm this is where we belong. Here's where we join some lame support group, and we will actually sabotage our healing because we don't want to outgrow our people, right? Here's where we'll go to therapy, well-meaning therapists, but if they're not highly skilled in betrayal, you're rehashing and regurgitating and revisiting your story week after week. Right?
And how many people really specialize in betrayal? I don't know a therapist.
Yeah. And think about it. So the more you do that, there is a place to unpack and all of that. But if all you are doing is feeling heard, validated, and understood, you're actually gluing yourself to stage 3. Do you see? This is
And
what
you can't
happens.
move. You're
Yeah,
stuck.
you can't move. And the more you do that, the harder it gets. This is actually where we'll sabotage ourselves because we're afraid to outgrow our betrayer who has no intention of changing. It gets worse, but I'll get you out of here. Because it feels so bad, but we don't know there's anywhere else to go. Right here, we start numbing, avoiding, distracting. So here's where we start using food, drugs, alcohol, work, whatever it is. Now think about it. We do it for a day, a week, a month. Now it's a habit, a year, 10 years, 20 years. I can see someone 20 years later and say, that emotional eating you're doing, or that drinking, or numbing in front of the TV, do you think that has anything to do with your betrayal? They'll look at me like I'm crazy. And they'll say it happened 20 years ago. But all they did was put themselves in stage 3 and stay there. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, definitely. They're not moving forward. I mean,
Uh-huh.
you see people do this all day long.
Mhm.
They're stuck where they're at and they're not moving forward because that's just not where they're at, because they're not ready to move on according to your areas, and they're stuck in
Exactly.
3. I love it.
Exactly. And so now their life is really no more than medicating or suppressing the symptoms of post-betrayal syndrome, new relationships, and if nothing changes, nothing changes. So now they're either putting the big wall up where like, nope, no one's getting near me again. That's not healed. That's hardened. Or repeat betrayals because nothing has changed. And they're wondering why life stinks. And it's because they're living in stage 3.
And how
Can I
did they
get
get
you
out of
4 and
stage
5?
3? Yeah, how did they get out?
Okay. So if you're willingness is a big word right here, to let go of your story, grieve, mourn the loss, bunch of things you need to do. You move to stage 4. Stage 4 is finding and adjusting to a new normal. So here's where you acknowledge, I can't change or undo what happened, but I control what I do with it. Just in that decision, you're turning down the stress response. You're not healing just yet, but at least you stopped the massive damage that was going on in stages 2 and stage 3. Stage 4 feels like if you've ever moved. If you've ever moved to a new house, office, whatever, your stuff's not there, it's not cozy yet, but it's this sort of hopeful excitement, right? But think about it. If you were to move, you don't take everything with you, right? You don't take those things you've outgrown that don't represent who you want to be in this new space. And it was so interesting because there was this one spot as people moved from stage 3 to stage 4, where if your friends weren't there for you, they're not coming with you. That lame support group, you're done. That therapist who just has you rehashing, you're done. That betrayer who's not changing, you're done. And people ask me all the time, they say, what the heck? I've had these people in my life all this time. Is it me? Yes, it is. You're undergoing a transformation. And if they don't rise, they don't come along. So anyway, when we get comfortable in this new space, we make it kind of mentally our new home. We move into the 5th, most beautiful stage. And this is healing, rebirth, and a new worldview. The body starts to heal. Self-love, self-care, eating well, exercise. We didn't have the bandwidth for that earlier. We were surviving. Now we do.
And I've seen personally, I've gone in that stage and I've gotten out of that stage.
Yeah.
And can you wean back and forth?
Yeah, you go. The thing is, if you work, first of all, your BS meter is so sharpened and strong. If you truly go through the stages, you're not an energetic match for that type of betrayal again. Having said that, if you are betrayed again, you have the tools and resources that it does not set you back the way it did the first time. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, when we're so now in stage 5, remember the 4 legs of the table?
Yeah.
Physical, mental. That's all we were prioritizing. By this point, we're solidly grounded because we're focused on the emotional and the spiritual too. Those are the 5 stages.
I love it. I mean, it's so true though. And
Mhm.
if you're somebody who's worked through them, yeah,
Uh-huh.
we've all been betrayed. You cannot, if you are listening to this, you own your own business, you've been betrayed in some fashion or form. And I mean, you need it. You need the healing process. But again, nobody talks about it.
Well, and think about it in business. And that's why my newest book, we spoke earlier and I said it was just released. I don't even have a copy in my own hands, the Betrayal Recovery Roadmap. It's all about how that betrayal affects your business. Because think about it. if you've been betrayed, you think it doesn't come into the workplace with you, but it does. Because if the person you trusted the most proved untrustworthy, the next part of that is, well, I can't even trust myself now. Because where was I? How did I not see? How did I not know? So how do I trust my boss, my coworker? Or let's say you're in sales and your confidence was shattered. Well, how do you go sell your product or your service, right? Or how do you feel safe? So very often it's looked at, or it seems like it's burnout or disengagement or low morale, low productivity. It's an unhealed betrayal.
Wow.
Mhm.
So I was talking to a friend of mine who is a little stuck, and she's like, I just don't know why I'm stuck. I can't go anymore. And you just make me want to go to her and say, have you thought it could be this?
Yeah, it's so, and it's so interesting because we have so many people that come into the PBT Institute and they tell us, I'm going to lose my job. I'm making more mistakes than usual. My boss is catching on, or I'm not motivated. I just can't get the whatever I need to just do the same stuff I used to do. And this is so normal because all of those symptoms, you heard me read those symptoms of post-betrayal syndrome. Well, of course, how can you function the way you normally do? And I remember I had a meeting with some of our PBT coaches, and some of them said, "Oh my gosh, I remember because they've all been through it, and that's why they make such great coaches." But I remember one of them saying, "I couldn't work for 7 months." This is what goes on because you're struggling just to even get out of bed, especially in stage 2. So the idea of, especially these bigger companies that have the resources, so you can have like a paid sort of, you could go to therapy or whatever, they're actually paying for their people to stay stuck.
That is so true. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're paying, and they think they're helping them, but they're really not.
Of course. Yeah. And think about the healthcare costs and all of that. Well, those costs just go down when somebody naturally heals, right? Like I told you about that woman who 2 weeks healed from a 70+ year gut issue. She didn't need all that gut medication she was on, right? Because the healing took care of it. So when we actually take care of the root cause, which is healing the betrayal, all those symptoms go away.
So let's talk about women and growing their businesses.
Yeah.
Okay. And what advice do you have for them? Maybe they've hit a plateau and they're just having that trouble to go above it a little bit. What advice?
Yeah. I mean, I've been in business 33 years. So the PBT Institute is since 2018, but I started my business 33 years ago. And it's pivoted. It's always pivoted based on me, my interests, the times. So I look at it like if you're really having sort of a hard stop where everything you were doing that was working is truly no longer working. Of course, you want to exhaust all what it could be, check everything, but then take a look and say, is there something different or just more that I'm supposed to be bringing? Is there a next level of me that I'm supposed to share right now that would bring this business to the next level? Because if you're an entrepreneur and it's your own business, that your business is the highest expression of you. So what are you bringing or not bringing, or what are you withholding? Like I remember when I started, when I started with the PBT Institute, and I was ashamed to tell my story. I was terrified. I mean, I'm a private person. This is the best gossip out there, right? Betrayal. And I remember, any good coach has a coach, right? And one day we had this meeting and all the, people in the group were on the call, and it was my turn. And I start talking about the study. And my coach looks at me and points his finger and he said, "Stop hiding behind your effing study already." And I was like, oh boy. And it was terrifying because it's such a vulnerable thing, but I shared, and it absolutely not only changed my business, changed my life, helped thousands of people, because it wasn't about me. It was about the healing.
It's all about the healing process. And the more authentic we are,
Yeah.
in our business. And I mean, I look at it even sometimes, like I've seen things where something's happened to me and I get stuck in business because I wasn't willing to forgive that person
Mhm.
or something to that effect. And it might not even be business related, but some kind of thing happens and you just get,
You get
yeah.
stuck. And also, just thinking about getting stuck, it serves us. And I
Mm.
know that sounds crazy, but if you take a look at what would be an answer to the question of what's the benefit of me staying stuck? And I know it sounds crazy, but very often there are benefits. Then I don't have to put myself out there. I don't have to be seen. I don't have to be judged. I don't have to be criticized. I don't have to have that confrontation with, my parents because I'm making more than them. Whatever it is, there's always a benefit. I don't have to make more than my partner and they're going to be uncomfortable. Whatever it is, take a look and see, is there a benefit of staying stuck? It could be I get to keep my story. I get to complain about everything not working, right? I get to keep everything in place. I, I get to hide, whatever it is. There's always something. So
There
see if
is.
there's
There's always something. Like, I mean, I don't like the green dot on the computer going on. I love doing this, but the
yeah,
green dot gets
yeah,
to me. And it's like, because I don't want to hear what people are going to say. Oh, your hair wasn't perfect. This wasn't right. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I find that's true for women like 40 and older, that they
Mhm.
have that little stigma they have to
It's
overcome.
so hard, and I see it all the time. Look, I'm 59 and I'm like, wow, I'm going to be 60 and doing this and putting myself out there and whatever. But it's like, listen, there's wisdom here. There's a lot of wisdom. So I'm kind of leaning on the whole wisdom thing because as the youth is leaving, the wisdom's coming in. So, I mean, I still feel
We're
30.
both doing it. How about that? We're both leaning on wisdom.
That's it. That's it. And there's so much value there. Like think about it, just in everything I've done, there's so much. I mean, now I have a program that I share with my certified coaches where it's a business accelerator course because I've made every mistake there is. I can shorten their learning curve. I've written 8 books. I've done the 2 TEDx talks. I've created a national holiday. I've keynoted. I've created products and services. I know what does not work because I've made a ton of mistakes, but I know it works too.
So tell us about the national holiday. I love National Forgiveness Day. Can you
Yeah.
tell us about it? And what day
Yeah,
is
sure.
it exactly on?
Yeah, so it's celebrated every year on September 1st. And it started because, when you think of what's on the other side of betrayal, forgiveness. It just is. And so often for someone betrayed, they will withhold forgiveness because one reason could be they feel like that's the only thing they have control over. So many things were taken out of their control. This is what they control, and they're keeping it. But meanwhile, it's hurting them. So I was seeing so many people within the PBT Institute struggling and physically, mentally, and emotionally, because it's not just a mental emotional thing. It is physical too. And when they felt safe and comfortable enough to forgive, their lives changed. That's not saying you're weak, you're a sucker, you're setting yourself up for it to happen again. No, again, it's for you. So it just happens so often. And I was like, wow, I see the benefit of the way we're teaching people to forgive when they feel safe, when they're ready for themselves. Let's just make it a holiday. So it's
I love
exciting.
that.
It's
I
exciting.
love
So
that.
for the past 2 years, every September 1st, I go live and have this big event. And then for 21 days, I go live and share the most empowering stories on forgiveness with experiential activities and mantras and affirmations. And then we wrap it up. And this year, I'm going to go live on September 1st, and it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful product. So people could do it on their own time and their own pace. And I'll meet up with them on day 21.
Wow. And so we're definitely putting that in the August magazine so everybody knows to go September 1st.
Oh,
I have to go.
thank you. Thank you.
All right. Knowing what you've learned so far in your career
Mhm.
throughout your years, what advice would you go back and give your 18-year-old self?
Mm. Trust. Just
Ooh.
trust. Stop doubting yourself. Stop questioning. If you've been given an opportunity or something comes into your awareness, it's because you're supposed to do something with it. Period. And don't stop until you've done what you're supposed to do with that thing. So, I think we question so often, that seems too big or too crazy. Well, of course, because it's different than what you're currently doing, just like everything else you've ever done. It was new and unfamiliar. But if you can simply look at things as unfamiliar instead of scary, not for you, whatever, we do so much more. Just trust that if that experience is coming into your awareness, it's because it's meant for you.
So, dealing with business still, what is a key strategy that helped you advance your career that some people told you maybe not to do, and you
Yeah.
did it anyway and it worked?
When the thought of, really, you're going to talk about betrayal? Nobody wants to talk about betrayal. It's like a taboo topic. You're talking about betrayal and how it affects people in business. Are you crazy? That's not done. So I hear that all the time. And to me, I look at it more like, that's the reason why it needs to be talked about. Right? I mean, why would I dive into just the same, ocean that everybody's swimming in?
No.
This is blue ocean. It's wide open, but so desperately needed. So I hear that all the time. And then of course I question myself, but then I'm like, no. I see what happens when people move through the stages. I know how effective it is. So
You've
thank you for
seen
sharing.
that in the stats you have. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And how they come out of that.
That's it. So I hear it. I thank them for sharing. Listen, they told me I was crazy having 6 dogs. They told me I was crazy going back for a PhD at 50. So it's like, all right, I've heard it before.
So how do you balance everything? So you've been in business for a while. How do you balance everything with your family? You're on both coasts.
Yeah.
And you have how many children? They're older, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I have 4 kids. They have 4 partners now. And that's the reason why I'm bi-coastal, because there's no chance I'm not going to be with them. So, I have one son and his wife in New York and in my daughter-in-law. And I promised a week a month I'll be there, and a promise is a promise. So I am. And then I have 2 of my kids, and one is engaged. So they're here in San Diego. So I'm here with them. And then I have one in Singapore. So she has to fly in because I'm just not going. That's my limit, But we all got together recently, and it was the first time all 4 kids and 4 amazing partners got together, and it was the most beautiful thing to see. And just to close up, just so everybody knows, I closed the loop on my story. Forgiveness and rebuilding is always a choice, whether you rebuild yourself and move along, and that's what I did with my family, or as a completely new person, completely transformed, you rebuild something entirely new with the person who hurt you. And that's what I did with my husband not long ago. As 2 completely rebuilt people, we married each other again.
Oh.
New rings, new vows, new dress, and our 4 kids is our bridal party. So, betrayal will show you who someone truly is. It also has the opportunity to wake them up to who they temporarily became. Not that you need to do anything with it, but there's tremendous opportunity if you do.
Oh, wow. That is amazing. You guys remarried. How long were you apart?
So we were apart over a year or so. And it was, I think I healed to the extent I did because here I was doing the study, and just if it worked, I was implementing it. And I think he healed as quickly as he did because he was the one who told our kids. And I think there's something about your 4 kids looking at you like, you did what to mom? If anything is going to have you wake up and realize what matters, it's losing all the people that matter. And he did. And he earned it back.
Wow. That is amazing. I love that story. I love the fact you closed it up for us, though, because I needed that closed up. So I'm like,
I can't stand open loops.
I know. I was just assuming you were divorced still, but I'm so excited you guys got back together.
But I never would have if both of us didn't radically change. And here's what happens too. People are so afraid of the death and destruction of the old, that's the only way you birth the new. You know, and we see so often where people are just unwilling to take that stand, create new boundaries, new rules, and nothing changes. And in fact, there were 3 groups in the study who didn't heal, and the third group, it was the group where the betrayer had very little consequences. So whether it was out of religious reasons, financial, whatever, they did all they could just to look the other way. And I saw 2 things with that group: a further deterioration of the relationship, and 2, that group was the most physically sick.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. But that's what happens when nothing changes,
Yeah.
you know.
True.
So
True. All right. Now, what are future plans you have? Do you have any new future plans that we need to keep an eye out for?
I absolutely do. So one thing we just started doing is, you know, I realized that while we have people from all over the world, coaches and members within the PBT Institute, there are different cultural norms and different languages and things like that. So what we started recently doing is having PBT as a thing in other countries. So we have some of our certified coaches representing the PBT Institute in their countries. So far we have Vietnam, we have the Middle East, and we just launched Kenya.
Oh,
And
wow.
this way, people who've experienced betrayal can have access to this deep healing according to their customs and at a price range that's right for them, in their language, all of it. So that's one thing that's new.
Oh my God, that is so amazing. I can't wait. You're going to be worldwide soon, everywhere. I can just.
I
All
just
right.
want to share the message.
If you had a superpower for just one day, 24 hours is the fun part, what would it be?
You know, the first thing that comes to mind is I'd love to read people's minds, but I feel like it's an invasion of privacy. I only want to read their minds so that I can scoop out from them their struggle so I can help them. Not to invade the privacy, but to help them. But so that would be my superpower.
All right. One fun fact about you that not a lot of people know about.
That not a lot of people know about. Let's see. Well, I used to, I used to be a DJ, and I used to, and I needed extra money in college, and I used to, sing and dance at people's weddings and things like that. And it was really fun.
I could see DJ, and that would be fun.
I was a DJ for a long time. That was a lot of fun. They didn't have female DJs. It was always guys. So it was just an interesting thing to see a girl DJ, the high hair back in the 80s, the whole thing.
See it. All right. Books. Tell me about your favorite books. And I know you have a book that just came out. Tell us about that book. Come on, just give it to me.
All right. So the Betrayal Recovery Roadmap, that's specifically for business, but my last 3, before that, I have 8 in total. This is the one that maps out trust again, maps out the stages, and everything's in there about that. But if you find you're stuck in stage 3, I wrote From Hardened to Healed because everyone was stuck in stage 3. And then we have a program within the PBT Institute for the betrayers. It's not going to be everyone who wants a program like that, but the people who realize, oh my gosh, I just shattered the heart and trust of the very person I love the most. So that we have this one, the Rebuild Roadmap. That's for the betrayer. So we have all kinds of stuff.
I love that. All right. So I love those books. What about songs? Do you have a favorite song that gets you moving and grooving? Come on, you were a DJ. Come on. Bring it on.
Yeah. It's funny because when I think of my favorite song, it's not about moving and grooving, but it represents the most important things to me. And it's is his name Izzy? I think the Izzy version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Izzy? Is it Izzy? And I'm saying that because I used to sing that song to each of my kids every single night. And it's like mandatory that we all go to Maui every December. So it's a blend of my favorite place on earth, along with the song that all the kids, just love.
That's my mom's favorite song.
Oh,
So yeah. So that's so sweet. All right. Favorite quote.
I have to say, I'm just going to steal this one. It's mine. And I hear people have sent me shirts made with this quote on. It applies to everything. Ready? Hard now, easy later. Easy now, hard later. Take your pick. It's going to be one of those 2.
It's vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
How do you stay motivated?
the impact, just knowing the lives that are being helped, knowing the families that are coming back together in a very new and different way, knowing the confidence that's being created, the health that's being restored. It's just what I'm here for.
All right. How can our audience stay connected with you? I think you have quizzes too.
We do. Yeah. Everything's at the PBT, as in Post-Betrayal Transformation, the PBT Institute.com. So our most popular program is Reclaim, but they'll find the quizzes to find out what stage you're in, the symptoms of post-betrayal syndrome. Everything is there.
Oh, I can't wait to go take it. It'll be fun.
I don't know about fun, but revealing for sure.
Well, I think anything that's revealing is fun because you get to grow from it.
That's it.
And, you know, it's just another education for you to understand. And I love that.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. And so what else would you like to leave our audience with today?
You know, just this, as far as betrayal, if you have to say this a million times, it's worth it. Even though it happened to you, it's not about you. It's not about you. And when you realize that, it's really the start of being the catalyst to your greatest transformation. And when you take the hardest thing and you do something really good with it, that's trauma well served.
Definitely. All right, Debi, you're amazing. Thank you. Loved having you with us. All right.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. I hope you found inspiration, actionable tips, and a sense of connection with our incredible community of driven women. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share the episode with fellow entrepreneurs who are ready to elevate their game. Remember, your success is just the beginning, and we're here to support you in every step of the way. Until next time, keep shining, keep thriving, and remember, you have the power to create the business and life of your dreams. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.